Welcome, everyone. This is Coffee with a Journalist. I'm Beck Bamberger, and we're here because we want to know how to better work with our media reporters, friends, editors, managing editors, all the people, senior reporters, as we have today, to make the media world go round because we need to as publicists here. So, with us today, straight from New York City, my favorite place where I almost froze my butt off last week, but I didn't. Steve is Steve Gelsi, who's the
Gelsi
senior.
like gelato.
Say it again with the gelato,
You
please.
want to write it down with a J, J-E-L? Will
Okay.
that be easier?
Yeah. It's
Okay.
Chelsea, like Chelsea,
Gelsi,
but with
right?
the
Yeah,
gel. Yeah.
like
I like
gel.
it more
Yeah.
like Chelsea,
Start.
but
You
like
want to
a
start
gel.
over again?
Yeah, we could do it, or we could just you can keep this, or it's Steve Gelsi. There we go, everybody.
Yeah.
Senior
Yeah.
reporter at MarketWatch. Welcome,
Right.
Steve. What's going on?
Well, we're in New York here, and we're doing the thing. There's a lot of news out there, and we're we're rocking out all the time.
Perfect. I love it. Rock it out all the time. Okay, Steve, for those who are not as familiar, and I do like to ask this of pretty much everybody, MarketWatch, how would you define the coverage of MarketWatch? And then we can get to your type of coverage.
Well, MarketWatch is a financial news website where we're here to try to explain and break things down for our readers in an easy to understand way. We're here to help them save time. We're here to help them understand the complexities of the financial markets, and we try to do it as quickly as we can and as clearly as we can.
God bless, because it was a hard yesterday, I'm sure, for you when China decided to have an AI that actually worked and all this crap. So wow, it must never be boring for you.
Yeah, well, we're just to kind of a little bit more background. We're sort of part of the Wall Street Journal family. So you have the Wall Street Journal for sort of like the more elite people. Barron's is part of our family too, and then MarketWatch. We're sort of the widest reaching, most mainstream kind of focus. In terms of the family here. And we have been developing our unique voice.
Okay, so let's talk about maybe your unique voice, just as you do. Your tagline here, it says covers banking and cannabis as a senior reporter for MarketWatch. Are you still doing cannabis stuff? Because I see tariffs, IPO, Wells Fargo. I mean, tell us.
Not as much, because the stock market has been kind of, the stocks in the cannabis companies have been really weak, but I have been keeping an eye on it when there's something really worthy. We're right now on cannabis. We're sort of waiting on on what the federal government is going to do under Trump. Who the Health and Human Services Secretary is going to be, who the Attorney General is going to kind of shape the debate over cannabis. They did name a DEA chief who is sort of anti-cannabis, but but that's kind of expected. That's what DEA chiefs do. They're cops. So, So I write about a lot of different things. There's a lot of stuff going on right now, and the cannabis and the banking. I like to joke that they're two. I like to joke around saying that two industries that work on the edge of the law.
Yeah, that's a fun way to put it. Yes, gosh, never a dull day, I'm sure. Steve, how do you keep your inbox organized, if at all?
I use my, it's kind of funny. I use my inbox as kind of like a database. So anytime there's a topic, anytime there's a topic that I want to get something on quickly, I'll do a search on my email, and I might have a pitch or two on that topic, and so that's how I do it. But I don't break it out into subfolders or anything like that. I read pretty much everything that crosses every day, but it's at least the subject line. I don't read all the emails, but I've gotten really good at figuring out if the subject lines are something that's worth pursuing.
Ooh, now let's double click on that then.
Yeah.
The subject line. So this is the key in order to get the open to the damn email to begin with. So for you, what's in the subject line that is a standout versus nope?
Well, at least in cannabis, there's a few agencies that are really good, and so if it's from a couple of different specific agencies, I will take a look at it right away. But for the most part, I don't really keep track of who the PR people are. I just look at the subject matter, and if it's something I'm writing about that day, the things I'm really looking for are insights from analysts, I get pitches to interview institutional investors, and those people are really highly regarded in Wall Street. So those are the kinds of things I'm really looking for. Analyst updates. Sometimes I get PR people emailing me about analyst upgrades and downgrades. I write a lot about analyst upgrades and downgrades, so that's something I'm always looking for. And some of the stuff is completely off base. I'd say a lot of it is kind of spammy, but I would say 10 or 20% of them are pretty good. I probably only get like
20%.
Yeah,
I'm shocked it's that high.
I think I only get about 100 emails a day, so it's not even that much for me. That's not that
Okay.
much. You can get through that pretty easily.
That is surprisingly low, I'd say, Steve. So no wonder you can get through them. I was, chatting with some people, and they're like 1,000 a day. I get
Yeah, I don't get any. Hopefully, I won't get 1,000. Yeah, there's no way I could get through that many. No way.
No.
Maybe 200 at the most.
No. Okay, so you were saying you look at every email, you're looking at the subject lines, 10 to 20%, are decent. Then you're using your own database. You're using your own emails as your database, so you're searching stuff. This is important because so many people do this, and we haven't talked about this at length, so let me get into a little bit more. When you are searching, how are you searching? Are you looking for a name of that cannabis company? Are you looking like for what keywords? Because I think if more publicists used keywords in their pitches, it would help them for this, because so many journalists use this system, like, searching within your own inbox.
I'll just kind of like to answer that question. I'm going to just kind of make a statement in general, like, the entire industry of journalism is so focused on headlines. I mean, we spend a lot of time at MarketWatch crafting our headlines because that's what really people click on. And so I guess the same rule can be said for email subject lines. I don't want to put too much pressure on people, but just tell us, an email shouldn't be too long, generally. But tell us what it is. Tell us what the subject is in the subject line. That's what the subject line is for. Don't beat around the bush too much. Don't try to be too cute. Don't try to make too many puns unless you really feel like there's a really good pun. But yeah, just kind of tell it like it is, and we can figure it out. I literally I don't do this quite as much, but I literally will read through every single press release on PR Newswire between 6 a.m. and 9 a.m. and I will look through every single press release on Business Wire from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. to see if there's anything that I want to cover. So I do that as a proactive way to find news.
A journalist doing this and looking at the literal wire.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Steve, this is breaking news. I've never heard this oh my God.
If I have time.
Okay. This is good to clarify that. If you have time. Okay.
Yeah, I will do that. On slow days, I do. I mean, you wouldn't believe how slow it gets on some days, like, right before Christmas or something.
Yeah.
There's almost nothing out there, but yeah.
Wow. Okay. So someone actually reviewing the wire. And which ones do you look?
I focus on Business Wire and PR Newswire. Those are the two big ones. I guess there's some other ones, but I don't pay attention to those.
Okay. +1 for everybody.
If there's another one, I would look at that too occasionally too. I just don't have a ready kind of knowledge of it,
Yeah. Wow. Okay. This is so different from other things. This is amazing. Okay. This is good. Steve, do you ever want to make relationships with publicists in some meaningful way, especially since you're in New York City?
Being in New York City, I'm kind of spoiled, and people tend to come up to you, and so I don't even travel that much, to get stories.
You don't need to when you're in the...
People come through New York, and I meet them when they come through New York. I don't get quite as many people requesting face-to-face meetings or coffees, and that wouldn't be too bad to have a little bit more of those. I hope I'm not going to inundate my inbox now with this stuff, but you
might get hit up.
At News Corp, we have a third floor cafeteria, and it's always good to hang out with people in the third floor cafeteria and get a coffee. I know some of the CEOs like to come and hang out and check out the crowd there. Mm-hmm. When I interview them, so it's lively. All the people come in from New York Post or from MarketWatch or from the Wall Street Journal or from Fox Business or whatever, and they all come in and get their lunches and coffees and stuff.
Okay. Coffee's wanting. Great. That's kind of nice when you can like host it right there. You're like, great, it's in my own turf.
Yeah. So I can't really say there's a magic formula for for writing a subject line.
Back to that. Yeah.
I do. I kind of get a feeling for what stuff is like real hard, interesting news, and which stuff is more fluffy, and that's a subjective kind of thing. So that's kind of like what I'm looking for. I'm looking for something substantive, and if it's reflecting a hot story of the day, that's always good. That might help us do something. Just by way of to inform people, we're our jobs as journalists are changing because AI is changing the nature of news. So we tend to want to write the second day story on the first day. So we want the analysis right away. AI can write a news story based on a press release. It can pull out a press release and write a news story. So that's not what we're doing as much anymore. We're trying to use a little bit more critical thinking and analysis. As I said earlier, in journalism, you have the second day story. That's a second day analysis. You have a big story, and then you'll do the analysis the next day. But nowadays, the news cycle is so quick that you need to have the next day story, within an hour, because the interest in a news story, if everybody has a news story, the interest goes like this. It spikes up and then it goes right down as soon as everybody sees it everywhere. Just the interest level just goes down like that.
Yeah.
But an analysis story is gonna have a little bit more of a longer legs on it.
Yes. And Steve, you've been in the media space for quite some time, as we see from your long LinkedIn and everything, since, let's see, the 90s, Brand Week, just to let everybody know.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that was my first big break in New York City, was Brand Week.
Or as other people have told me, Steve, in the last century, when you were alive back then, you were back in, please. Okay. The point being, what you're inferring or like getting to is like the velocity of, getting an article out, doing the analysis is like, my God, it's tremendous, I'm sure, and very hard to keep up with. Just my take. Yeah.
And you kind of have to have fun when you're doing it too. Like, I don't know. So I've been in the business a long time. I don't have an ulcer. I've never been divorced. I've never had a nervous breakdown. So I must be doing something
you're winning.
Right.
You were definitely winning. Definitely winning. By the way, no one's admitted this on this show or anything, but like, have you known journalists who have had like mental breakdowns?
I've had some people with I've known some people with some fatal substance abuse problems. Yeah. But, and other people got cancer, unfortunately. Yeah. Oh, God. But not as many heart attacks though. They know how to really treat those. But
they do. Yeah. We're kind of good on that point, but damn. Anyway, what about sources? What's a super valuable source for you?
Well, I mean, we'd like to have somebody who can talk about, non-material information, which would be,
How would you define non-material?
Non-material information would be information that's not publicly disclosed. If they're willing to speculate on a merger, on background, we don't have to necessarily use their names, or if they want to, say, hey, this guy's an asshole, this person's great, on background, that's always helpful. And then we can always quote them at a different part of the story, or in a different story, but market intelligence is what we're looking for, and that's really helpful. I mean, when people are talking on the record, it's different. They have to be official, they're speaking for big organizations, so they can't really express their own opinions. But when they're talking on background, they can be a little bit more frank. And if we've met for coffee or something like that, or talked beforehand, maybe maybe the source will be a little bit more comfortable. Yes. We don't want to burn sources. We really don't want to burn sources. We're not going to do gotcha, kind of journalism. That's not what I'm about, really.
Yeah. Ooh, we don't want to do gotcha journalism. Good. Okay. Yeah. Gotcha.
You get more with sugar than you do with vinegar, I think, generally.
This is usually true.
Yeah.
Story approval process. I'd like to get into this because it seems maybe nebulous as to how a pitch is given to a reporter and then a reporter says, yes, I would like to do the story. But could you give us a little bit of insight into the back channeling it takes to get an actual story approved?
That's a really good question. There's I have to say every single situation is unique in those situations, and it's something you have to feel out with each individual reporter. It depends on what their relationship is with their editor, what the moving target is of what the publication wants. So it's really hard to predict. I know at MarketWatch, MarketWatch used to be very, very much writer driven. So at one point they just wanted all the content we could write, and we could write about anything we wanted all the time. But now, reality is set in, and we have to pitch our stories a little bit more now. It has to show a clear angle, that's unique, a totally unique angle for us to get an okay. We can't just write, news of a big merger. Even if it's a $20 billion merger, we're not going to write up the story if it's not a company that people care about, or if it's not a story that people might care about. So sometimes I would say, oh my God, it's a $20 billion merger. We got to write it up. Not necessarily. There's been a few big ones that we've passed over because the story just isn't that good. So, again, we're trying to write about the news and how it impacts people more than we're trying to, write the news itself in some ways.
Yeah. Very good. Typical day in the life of Steve. Can you give us a bit of it for you? And then we have our rapid fire questions here.
Typical day in the life. Well, MarketWatch is focused on the markets. So I work on the company's team. There's about 8 of us all together. And we get in early. I get in around 6:30. If I'm working from home, I start work at 6 a.m. And that's because we want to have a lot of content up there by the time the market opens at 9:30.
This is why I appreciate asking you this, because you're on the market side and you're in New York City. So like, it's going to be an early day for you.
Yeah. So if you look at our readership, since the Northeast has the biggest population in the country, the readership on our site peaks around 8:30, 9:30 in the morning. And then it goes, then it tapers off, and then it goes up again towards the close of the market. But that's so we have that surge in interest, say between 8 in the morning and around 9:30 in the morning, right before the market opens. That's when people are, getting to work, and they're checking their portfolios, and they might make a trade or something like that, or they just want to see what's going on before they start their day. The news dictates a lot of what happens in people's workplaces in general. You want to be on top of the news when you go into a meeting or something like that in general. So that's when people are checking the headlines, and that's when so that's in MarketWatch. So I start at 6 a.m., 6:30 in the morning. We get a handoff from the London office. The London office has been watching the overnight. So we have a London bureau that's been, watching things and doing things from on the European markets. And we get in at 6 a.m. and we just start, looking around for news. A lot of the corporate earnings come out around 6:30, 7:30, between 6:30 and 7:30 a.m. So we're on top of those as soon as they come out, and we're writing second day stories within 15 minutes, That's what we do.
Oh, we have that as a call out close. Second day stories in 15 minutes or less.
Yeah.
Jesus. Steve, what do you do to keep your sanity?
Well, but mostly by the middle of the day, the activity, sort of tapers off. So I get a little bit of a break, in the middle of the day, like noon, and things start to slow down. And then in the afternoons, I have a few hours to just kind of like maybe do some story planning and read some more stuff and update my stories. So most of my hard work and scrambling around is done by around noon.
Oh, that's nice.
So that's how I keep my sanity. And I get out of work relatively early because, I get out of work like 3:30, 4 o'clock. So it's I don't work that late. I do get in early, but I don't work that late.
I was going to say though, but when you start at 6 a.m., you're getting out at 4. Ooh.
I get up at 4:30. Yeah, on a lot of mornings. Yeah. But I don't mind. I'm a morning person.
Oh, me too. I'm a 4:30 a.m. person. Oh,
yeah.
My God, but I'm not going to work in an hour.
If I'm not working, I usually sleep till 7 or 8 in the morning.
Okay. Good to know. Steve, we have a rapid fire question set here.
Okay.
Are you ready?
How does that work? I have to answer quickly.
No, however you best answer. We'll see what happens.
You know what Paul McCartney, the Beatles, says? He says, what? First thought, best thought. So here we go.
Video or phone interview?
I think video is good. If you, because you can turn it into a phone interview. If you just want to take some notes, you can just turn the camera off. So
yeah.
Bullet
points or paragraphs?
I like both. I like a little summary at the top, and then maybe some bullet points below that.
Okay, this is good. Short or long pitches?
Short.
But how short? 4 lines or less, or?
You could do it in 2 sentences. You could do it in 2 sentences, I think.
I think you could. Isn't that true?
Yes. Yeah, I think you could do it in 2 sentences. When I pitch my editors, I'm not going to give them more than, a feature story. I would give them maybe 3 or 4 sentences, but a story is 1 or 2 sentences, because we can't hold a thought in our brains for that long anymore. Generally,
yes.
We all have ADHD, I think.
Everyone's at a low burn on that to some extent. Yes. Images attached or a Dropbox zip file?
I usually request images if I need them, because we have a database of images that we usually use. But sometimes if it's really good, I'd probably be better to have it in the file so you can just see it right away. Even though I don't know if it's more expensive for folks to do that than a zip file. I don't know.
Okay.
Well, the clients will pay for it though.
Yeah, maybe. Email or a DM of some sort?
I don't like DMs. I'm not going to go with the DMs. I go with the emails.
Gotcha.
I mean, maybe some people, maybe a younger person who gets everything in text, but I don't like getting text. I like having text on my phone for my personal stuff. So I don't necessarily like it when I get it mixed in.
Makes sense. One follow-up or multiple?
One follow-up is good.
Good.
Because I'm going to look at it. And I don't always respond, but I am going to look at it.
There you go. Yeah. Press release or media kit?
Press release. Yeah. 1 page, 2 pages. Media kit.
No.
I mean, if I'm doing an auto review, you need a whole, media kit for that with all the photos of the interior or whatever. But yeah.
Why not? Okay. Is there a time you usually read pitches? You said you read all of them. You get 100.
I read generally before 9 a.m.
Yeah. ET
we have
time.
A call.
So that's good to know.
We have a daily call at 9 a.m. So by that time, we usually have most of our ducks lined up.
There we go. And we already talked about sources, so I think we're good. Steve, is there something we can promote, celebrate, tout for you?
Well, if people can just subscribe to MarketWatch, we're worth the buck. I mean, we were a huge value, and we're offering all kinds of discounted, promotions and stuff like that. So please subscribe.
Please subscribe, everybody. Everyone, this is Steve Gelsi, senior reporter, MarketWatch. Steve, thanks for being here all the way from New York. Oh, that's just great. I'll be there next month. Can't wait.
Okay.
Can't wait. Don't make it so cold though this time. I was not down with the 8 degrees. Okay.
Good to meet you, and I enjoy this. Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
Okay. Bye-bye.